Welcome back, Nazreen. I'm here with Congressman Dennis Kucinich of Ohio. I must say, Congressman, both here and abroad, I have spoken to Pakistanis and Pakistani Americans, and they all pretty much say the same thing about the American people. They admire the vitality of the American people, the work ethic, their tolerance for religious and cultural values of others. That is the America that finds favor with the people of the world. So what is the disconnect between the wishes and aspirations of the American people and the actions of its government?
The disconnect comes from fear, from a lack of understanding of the causes of 9/11. 9/11 was a horrible tragedy for the world. It was a deep shock to Americans. But unfortunately, the Bush administration took 9/11 and used it as an excuse to attack people who had nothing to do with 9/11. What's that about? Iraq didn't have weapons of mass destruction. They weren't involved in 9/11 in any way. They did not have the intention or capability of attacking the United States. Yet we focused on a nation that couldn't even respond and killed over 1 million people there. Fear creates illusion, it creates paralysis, bad judgment. And so right now, we are continuing to suffer in this post-9/11 environment from an irrational fear, which has put us at severe odds with the people of Islam, unnecessarily. And we need to correct our course in that regard. Peace is possible. You have just told me something that proves to me that peace is possible. The people in Pakistan don't have anything against the people in the United States. Right behind you, there is a shell fragment that my wife and I brought back from Qana in South Lebanon. We went to South Lebanon after the Israeli Air Force, using American bombs, bombed the village of Qana and many other places, killed over 1,000 people in South Lebanon. We went to Qana where 50 women and children were killed by a bomb, and I have the shell fragment sitting right over there. When I met with the people of Qana in the dark of night with only the lights of mopeds shining on the scene where the bomb fell, where there were bomb fragments and pieces of clothing still there, from out of the darkness, and the dozens of people who surrounded me, knowing I was an American congressman, the first thing the people said, "We love America. We love the American people. We don't like what your government does, but we love the American people." Now, if people who have suffered so greatly have their hearts open, why cannot we open our hearts? Why cannot we listen to those voices? Why can't we see in other people's eyes our brother or our sister? So America has great capabilities, but we still have a great distance to go, and in order to go that distance, we have to overcome our fears.
Congressman, it seems quite clear through American history that Americans are inherently isolationist. Yet, the government of the United States has waged many a war all across the world. What does the military-industrial complex and/or big corporate interests, what do they have here in Congress and in the White House that trumps the voices of the American people?
Well, you know, war is an inconscient force. There are forces of violence at work in the world. We understand that. I mean, Gandhi's whole life was about addressing violence, but doing it in a nonviolent way.
Yes.
Here in Washington, we don't think about the violence which exists in our own society. Domestic violence, spousal abuse, child abuse, violence in schools, gang violence, gun violence, racial violence. These are all symptoms of a society which is so sated in violence that it doesn't believe there's any other way to relate to people. This is one of the reasons why I have proposed the establishment of a cabinet-level Department of Peace, where we actually help people in a non-judgmental way deal with the difficulties they're having inside their homes, at the workplace, and try to educate our children as to principles of nonviolence, how to engage each other when you have a difference of opinion. We can actually teach peace. We teach war now. We need to embrace our potential to be more than we are and better than we are. But as long as we think the only way that we can respond to conflict is through the gun, the fist, we are going to be continued to have these big appropriations.
Congressman, these days in Pakistan, there is a huge controversy about presidential immunity. As you may or may not know, President Zardari, he has some cases that are pending reopening in Switzerland. And the talk of the town here is whether a president should enjoy immunity from prosecution if it is proven that he is guilty of committing some kind of crime. Now, in 2008, you tabled a resolution for the impeachment of President Bush. Can you tell us a bit about this, why you wanted to impeach him? Perhaps the people of Pakistan can learn a thing or two about this particular situation from you.
Our United States Constitution imposes upon the President of the United States a very serious responsibility. And that responsibility is to be the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, never to send a man or a woman out on a mission of national security on anything but the truth. And unfortunately, our president, George Bush, did not tell the truth to the American people as to the reasons why we went to war against Iraq. Iraq had no weapons of mass destruction. Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11 or with al-Qaeda's role in 9/11. Iraq didn't have the intention or capability of attacking the United States. Our president had a responsibility to be direct and honest with the American people. So because I felt that he made many statements that turned out not to be true, I took the constitutional path, which I had a right to take, which is to introduce a resolution of impeachment. I didn't do that lightly. I did it after much thought and deliberation. But the highest official in the land must be held as accountable as any other official or person must be if they do something that violates the law. And he violated the law by attacking a nation that did not attack us, using that military force, violating the rights of the people of Iraq, and taking their lives. And so he had to be held accountable.
Nazreen, we'll be back after a short break.